dance, most of you use your arms, So if you think in pages piece everything that you're doing with your arms, just, I think make them count. Yeah, just make them count more, but it's looking quite nice. Just finishing off it.
It's a form of maybe escapism from reality, and I'm not thinking of anything. And that is a release from your own head, which is sometimes where we're all trapped into.
It's everything, I think, to some people. It's a release, it's an art, it's a vision.
It's not copying someone, it's doing whatever you want to do, because I really want to share, like, individuality, I think is really important.
It has infinite possibilities, actually.
But I think with dance I found like a form of expression and some sort of peace.
It was just a new world. Blew my mind. Changed my life.
So like anyone can dance. Dance is movement.
To me, it's such a visceral and sensual art form that it's what you feel. And go. Here. Nice. Next question. And do you finish casting that way? No, Evelyn. Okay.
This is something that I'd not necessarily like to do, but I'd like to incorporate somewhere.
I had a lot of people tell me I do a fake degree.
Like a Mickey Mouse course.
There's so many stereotypes about dancing. Got to be this, and this. No, you don't. You don't have to for anything.
They go, oh, what do you study dance? Like, what do you do for dance? Like, you know, don't you just move around? Well, no, we actually study it in depth and research and do production, and they don't understand the concept of it.
I had a stereotype of my own about contemporary and ballet. This ain't gonna be for me.
Well, it gets a little bit frustrating, I guess, because, you know, people just think that you're going into a studio and having a little prance around stage, and they don't actually understand that it's mental, physical and emotional.
It doesn't bother me anymore. People still don't understand.
It gets on my nerves because it's a lot harder than what people think.
We've got to be training every day, all day, and it doesn't sort of stop, because if you stop you lose it and you're not going to get there.
I think you have to have an inspiration. I think everybody has to have somebody that they look up to or they aspire to be. Yeah, I don't think I had any real expectations that dance was going to be easy. I knew it was going to be hard.
If you miss a class in dance, you're really far behind. You can miss an hour's studio lesson and the next week you haven't got a clue what you're doing. Whereas if you're doing a theory class, you can go on Moodle and then catch up on it. Do you know what I mean? So it gets on my nerves because I don't think they understand that it doesn't just take mental strength. You've got the physical strength, obviously, but they just don't understand that you've really got to apply theory and method and stuff like that, which it takes a toll on you physically but mentally as well, and I just feel like it's underappreciated.
Like dancers work really, really hard. They spend a lot of time actively thinking within a studio, and I think that's the difference. Like, it's a practice that's in the body, and I think people don't really know and understand that, which is fine, but it's a bit weird that people have got so much to say about something they don't really know.
train a lot. I feel like I have to go to the gym all the time. You have to keep your fitness up. And then if I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere.
When I did contemporary at A-level, that's the most judged I've ever felt in my life.
I don't feel that dance should be perceived that way.
Yeah.
It should show your own individuality.
In a way, it kind of hindered me into the type of dancer I am today and the confidence I have.
Yeah. So it has the power to recreate other forms of knowledge, but at the same time I think what the real issue is that people don't understand that it actually has its own knowledge that it produces. That's the thing, it's about knowledge production.
Injuries don't necessarily ever stop you unless they're really serious, but they do make it difficult to do a lot of things. I had my knee injury for 5 years, I think.
So I suffer with hypermobility and I have it in all my joints, which can be very painful when I'm dancing.
I had to have open knee surgery in between first and second year. They both it considered having 2 procedures and a nerve block in my leg. That was hard because I had to learn to walk again, let alone dance again. It was tough coming back into second year and not being able to do anything. So I was behind a lot in class. And it took a lot of work to actually walk again, let alone dance. You can't do anything and you feel like everything's just in a way wasted because you spend so much time trying to recover, but then you're missing out on so much as well when you're injured, and you have to watch all your classmates go on and do it without you and come out with amazing grades, and you know your grades aren't going to be the same. It's just a very difficult time for any type of dancer, I think, and go to all the rehearsals and then learn off my peers as well, which really helped. I don't think you could get through an injury without having supporting classmates because they're the people who can pick you back up and get you back up to speed.
I'm going at my own pace. I'm not pushing myself too far to where I'm going to hurt myself.
It can have a really detrimental effect at the time, but if the dancer can work their way through it, it will make them stronger for it. I know that.
I think it affects a student more than you could ever imagine. I think we only see, peers and tutors only see the tip of the iceberg.
It's difficult, but when you're doing it, you don't realise how to take care of yourself. I pushed way too much and don't rest when I should, whereas...
And it's just a matter of, they see the end product and they don't think, oh, that took a lot out of them to do. But if they was to be there in the rehearsal process and...
I think the only way you can carry on if you're injured is mentally.
Sometimes we're told we'll never dance again. Oh, you'll probably not dance again. Great, that's the... Psychologically, I think that was damaging. As a dancer, the more that you understand your body, the more sensitive it is, the more able you are to deal with it. But...
If I wasn't moving the way I was, I think I don't even know. I think they'd be a lot worse than they are.
Yeah.
It never stops me.
Dance had to find its place, and it was always an extra, if you like, an add-on. And I think that's why it's always been viewed. It's the same in the Arts Council. Who gets the most money? Music and opera. Then it's theatre and ballet, or theatre really, and the big companies, RSC, and then we've got dance. So dance has been the last in line, and it's been historical in higher education. We were the last in, the last recognised, the last having to prove our worth.
Especially even in, not just in the outside world, like dance in terms of art, acting, singing. There's something about dance that's sort of like pushed to the bottom, as if it's not art, it's not as is it credible, like credited?
University environment is an all-rounded thinking, versatile artist.
That's when I began to realise the creative arts have really taken a downfall in terms of what's important and what's needed most in society. When realistically, when you look at the world, you don't get anything unless you've got a creative mind.
So people have different skills, and I think that the education system, it can't just be black and white exams. It has to be something that accommodates for all people, to help all people sort of like push themselves and grow in what they enjoy, and especially in the arts as well.
I don't really care what people think of me. I'm like, that's how I move. If you don't like it, move on.
To work internally is completely something different.
And if you've got dance or drama or anything like that, you've got a skill that you can't learn from being in a maths class. You can't be creative with numbers.
Because when I started uni, I never danced before I got here, and then I was like, whoa. So it was through somatics that I think that I actually started to enjoy dancing.
Somatic practice has really been an influence in my studies.
So I realised that I don't have the technical training in things like ballet and jazz and tap and street and urban that most people do come to university with, but
Most of it is enjoyable, but sometimes, like, even modules on the course, you have to be here. You want to do it, but some modules you don't want to do, but you still have to. So you do get stressed and you still have to be somewhere you don't want to be, but you're there because you want to be at the same time.
like, I have to write essays, I have to do presentations, like we do oral exams and discuss what it is that we're actually working with in studio practices. You know, because you can tell if someone's blagging it as well in terms of dance, especially with somatic.
Yeah, you've got essays and stuff, like getting a first or a 2-1, it's not easy.
I think there's a big difference, well there was, between the conservatoire and the higher education. So I was like you, I went through higher education to then go to conservatoire. And you're told what to do in training, you weren't given opportunity to be creative, whereas you are.
I guess that coming to university has like opened a lot of doors and ideas and things of what dance is and what it can be.
Working with students is very different to working within other moments. So I always find that very interesting when I walk in here. What are the conditions here? You know, what do you need? Actually, what do you need to get through this and to kind of feel good about your future and to kind of feel successful and valued and kind of okay with where you're at and what you want.
Having been in the commercial industry and worked for TV, that's tough. That's really different from the contemporary industry. In my head, I knew when I was doing that, I thought I can't do this for the rest of my life.
There's definitely sort of within the industry there is a professional outcome and an expectation, but that's in any industry. But I completely understand why in our industry it's a lot more difficult because it's very personal.
Looking at on stage and on when I go and see musicals, when I go and see stuff on TV, you don't usually see big size dancers. Part of me really worries that, yeah, I'm not really skinny, but I'm not really fat either, but it's the perception of the shape of a dancer. If you're not a certain shape or height or style, sometimes you're not allowed in some auditions. But recently I went to an audition in Rombear, a dance company, for a master's course to do there. And everyone was really nice, you know, it was really nice to see that no one was really snooty. It is a sense of competition, but everyone was nice to each other. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I think it's who you meet, networking. It's like, if you see talent, you do it because you don't want paid for it, you just want to work for that artist. Whoever the artist is, just get yourself in there. Look at a choreographer and go, I'd really like to dance for you. How could I dance for you? I really wanted to perform more than anything else in the world. That's what I wanted to do. I think you've got to want it, haven't you?
You've got to work at it and stuff like that, but you can do more than one thing rather than being told you've either got to do this or do this. So it's like a burden really, whereas I feel like some things you have to do to get where you want to be. I feel like I have to be like everybody else. You just get used to seeing what others are doing and feel like you're not going to get there and that you need to. I think because the industry is so big now, trying to find work is the most difficult thing to do. Like, other people can go online and apply for a job and we can't do that, and it's really difficult because you have to know people, go through certain things, and you only find websites or agencies through other people telling you.
I have no idea how the industry works.
If like a kid wants to dance or if a kid wants to sing, then let them. Like, what's the problem?
Why can't I do something that I really enjoy to do?
When I was younger, obviously it was just sort of one of those things that stereotypically all the girls went and did on a Friday night, stuff like that.
I think it should be down to the person as opposed to the rules of what dance is.
You know, as a 7-year-old, you just say, when someone says dance to you, you think ballerina, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. Like, when you're younger, it's definitely hard. Like, there was times when, like, I'd just be stood outside class and people would just, like, walk past and shout, like, homophobic things at you just because you're going into a class to do a musical theatre class, when it's like, what does that have to do with sexuality?
Yeah, it's always open for people. People find it difficult to find where they can start. And there's always stuff out there, it's just hard to find. You've got to know the right people to get into it.
Been dancing for the past 10 years now. I come from the south of India, right? And in the whole of India, you have this stigma that you're either an engineer, doctor, lawyer. So you have to fit into that category, or you're probably not doing anything with your life. Like, you're a loser. Okay, so what he's doing, he's just wasting his parents' money and chilling out in life. Bunking university to go for my company classes and training.
Whereas in South Africa, it's very much a cultural thing also. Like, people dance a lot. You know, the body's very expressive in a different way. Like, we do that a lot. Whereas it felt for me at the beginning that it was a separate thing.
Yeah.
And then also I really enjoyed London in the first couple of years, how people dance and where they dance and where real dancing takes place. It didn't feel to me always as if it was on stages. So yeah, it took me a while to sort of clock in, I guess. I had to really find my own voice. So I had to understand where I was and sort of speak, you know, and that was intense for me, I have to say.
Like, I don't really show how much I miss my family and my work, because that will, I don't know, it makes me feel like it might slow me down, or maybe it's for something better in the future.
I think if someone's struggling with how they feel, then a form of dance, is a way that they can express their emotions and their feelings.
One thing that helped me was dance. That was the thing that basically saved my life. And you research these things, dances with mental illnesses, depression and anxiety and stuff, and how that is a form of escapism.
And I'd like to think it's got a bigger effect on positive energy and bringing out that positivity in people. But performance in general is uplifting and very sort of giving and receiving, whether that be physical or emotional or mentally. Mental movements dance.
But I do think dance and movement plays a big part on my mentality.
I can understand, endure, persevere with what I feel, make sense of it, create it, empathize with it, and then share it as well.
Yeah.
So something that challenges the audience,
Yeah.
made aware of what they're thinking. Because like, you can do a certain move and hit it, and people like, we never do not quite understand why it has to be so materialistic. Yeah, I wish that could change. I really wish that could change, but people like what people like, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe as humans we're really perceptive,
Choreography is always political. You know, the world is choreographed. The world is very choreographed. So how can we look at that as a type of specialized for us as dancers, but also special place to kind of recreate and to repair and to look at things. You know, it's not just to do with the canon or learning styles and stuff like that. And that was a real awakening in my kind of early stages. That's never left me. I'm thankful. Sometimes it's a tough life also to be part of. You know that there are moments where you are totally drained and you don't know how to carry on and you don't know how to make a life with, you know, those kinds of really, really difficult things that's part of modern life, I guess. But at the same time, that's remained. Because dance, its development within different sort of cultural places, well, not places, but sort of different cultural domains, it has a lot to give. And I think that's still untapped and quite undiscovered. And I think at the moment there's a real shift towards gaining from other art, from forms that actually look at better futures, you know. This is my ultimate statement, this is what I would kind of put as a subject, is that actually the kind of knowledge forms that dance produces is the future.